Today I will discuss the supplementary voting system, or as I would like to call it, parallel voting. This system of parliamentary election is used in Japan, Mexico, Venezuela, a few countries in Africa. It's one of my 3 preferred systems of voting. I like this system because it is not proportional, but still quite fair. Basically, the system works like this. Most of the parliamentary seats are won on a first-past-the-post basis. Single-member districts. The one candidate with the most votes wins. That's first past the post. However, you cast 2 votes in this voting system. One for your member of parliament who will represent you, one for your district, and your member of parliament for your district, and another for the party you prefer. Now, there is a much smaller list. There is a small list group of MPs, maybe like 20% of the parliament. So it's supplementary. So it's voting for 2 parliaments, a first-past-the-post parliament and a party list proportional parliament, which will be much smaller party list proportional party list parliament, which will be put together into one parliament. The list seats do not add to the overall proportionality of the vote, unlike mixed member proportional, which will be discussed in another video. Now, I like this system because it favors the larger parties, and it in principle should create a stable 2-party system. The larger, more established parties can have a single party government and an overall majority. Most of the time. In principle, because it depends on political culture, something I will discuss in a future video. Now, why do I like this system overall? Because, as I said before, it is stable and gets a one-party government most of the time. But it's also, in my opinion, fair because everybody is to some degree represented in the parliament. It doesn't reflect the national mood, how the people voted. So the resulting parliament is not proportional in the sense that this is how the overall picture looks, but everybody will be represented. And it neutralizes the threat of the extremists, in my opinion. Basically, it'll be like this. Popular groups in each district will have their representation. Large groups of voters in each district. And then that will be groups from each district or each region having their representation. And then the list seats, which is given to the party list, which I described in the previous video about how party list proportional works. The list seats are for the everybody else. Meaning that if you did not vote for your district MP, you can feel comfort in the fact that you are represented in one of your list MPs, or some of your list MPs. So list MPs actually have a greater burden because, for example, maybe a district MP represents 10,000 voters, and a list MP might represent 100,000 voters because the list MPs are much less. is much less seats. So like I said, it's not proportional. But you can take comfort in the fact that if your district MP doesn't speak for you, your list MP speaks for you. It also, in my opinion, the list neutralizes an unfair, how shall we say this, result in an election. Under a first-past-the-post basis, a party can get the most seats but less votes. For example, a party can get an overall majority in seats but less votes than a party which got less seats. So the list MPs can actually swing, can actually cancel out popularity that is not really there. A mandate that they don't really deserve because they didn't get as much votes. Because a political party didn't get as much votes but won the most district seats. And usually, why it cancels it out? Because it's usually, if a party gets an overall majority but not as much votes as an opposition party, as a losing party, is usually very narrow. It's by a 2-3 seat majority. Not many seats are, it's a very narrow majority. So the list seats could cancel out that undeserved majority. South Korea is rather unique because there are actually more list seats than there are district seats. Last time I checked, I believe it was 83% list seats and 17% district seats. So the supplementary seats are actually the district seats. So South Korea is unique in the supplementary voting system, in the countries that use that system. But I prefer calling it parallel voting. So I hope I have convinced you that this is a pretty fair system. I will see you in my next video.